Sluggish performances from Georgia, LSU, and Penn State should not sound the alarm just yet. Now, we saw dominance in a few places, right? We saw dominance that we have documented kind of across the board from Ohio State, Oregon, others. Like there was a lot of dominant performances this weekend. But you have three teams that were in the top five in Georgia, LSU, and Penn State that were winners, but it was not beautiful en route to the victory. We'll start with Georgia. They win the game 28-6 over Austin Peay. They had the weather delay. The offense has kind of struggled to find a bit of a rhythm so far, and you'd like to see things improve for that group as they move forward. Here's the things I did not like. I thought the protection was not great from time to time. I don't like right now how conservative they are with their passing attack. I don't think against Tennessee this week, for example, you can dink and dunk your way to victory. Like you can hit those screens and short throws all they want, but at some point you got to have some development downfield. Now they desperately need to attack the standard drop back passing game. And that needs to be a huge point as they continue to move forward. Like we know what Georgia wants to be. They want to be a physically imposing team that can just pound it. They might be that this year. I think the offensive line in the run game, I think the element of the quarterback run this year, they might very well be that. But you also, against top-tier competition, what's the goal for Georgia? Win the national championship, right? That's the goal. Well, they're going to have to be able to beat you through the air. And until I see them take strides in that direction, it's hard for me to feel real good about what we've seen from them. Just look at the goal line sequence at the end of the half, too. A couple of throws off the mark, but couldn't punch in at the end of the half. I get it. The time was not on their side. But I think this team needs to absolutely develop a little bit more, and they'll be just fine. But there's things to work on for sure. LSU, not super sharp in their 23-7 win against Louisiana Tech. Continue to love their defense. They give up just 154 total yards, but the offense was not great. Nussmeier threw a badly thrown, underthrown ball early, led to a pick, bad throw. A couple of drops by wide receivers. I like how they're using Xavier Thomas right now. That's encouraging. But the offense just in general, the passing attack in general, the last 2 weeks, a little bit hit or miss. I wonder, now, people have said that Nussmeier's dealing with some injuries. Nussmeier might have something in his abdomen, might have the knee issue, but just something right now from an offensive rhythm standpoint, even dating back to the game against Clemson, there's just something that's just not all the way there just yet. But hey, big opportunity this weekend against Florida at home. Hopefully they can get back on track and look a little bit more dynamic on the offensive side of the football. And then for Penn State, a little bit of a slow start, right, against FIU. Just 10-0 at halftime. They were a massive, massive favorite in this game. They pulled away in the second half. There's one thing right now. You had some good field position. They couldn't really finish drives. Things just didn't look great. Blocked field goal, whatnot. Second half was much better. Drew Aller kind of finished the day. The numbers weren't great. A couple touchdowns. I thought there were some high points in the game. Liked the throw and the touchdown to Devontae Ross, who had an impressive one-handed catch. The running game also got going as things went along. You saw Katrin Allen break a big run in the fourth quarter. So I'm encouraged by what's in there. I just haven't seen it all just yet. And they don't have anybody this week. Penn State's schedule is just atrocious. But for the most part, man, this team and this offense want to see a little bit more from them as they continue on. And these sluggish performances, man, these are championship hopefuls. These are national championship hopefuls. Just want to see that offense be dynamic because we've talked about it already with Oregon, with Ohio State, with other teams that can really fill it up on the scoreboard. You're going to need to make sure you can go point for point in the event in which your defense doesn't have their best stuff on that given day. Now, a win is a win, but the matter of how they win is important. And it was a lack of execution in some cases, a little bit lethargic. We know they're talented. We know that. But right now, you might need to score 30, 35, 40, 45 in a playoff game when your defense doesn't have their best stuff. So all three of these games kind of, quote, trap games. You got conference opponents coming up next week. Flat performances is not something that is uncommon. It's not something that's new, but I just want to see them play to their potential. One other takeaway on some of these games against G5 competition, these G5 guys, like at Louisiana Tech, like at Austin Peay, like at FIU, by the way, good example. There's a handful of their players that have actually gotten recruited to Power 4 programs this year. A lot of these G5 teams are using these games as a legitimate audition tape. So you're getting better effort now from these G5 players than you ever have before, because if a guy balls out in that game against a Power 4 team, they might be in position to get recruited the following year when the transfer portal opens up by Power 4 competition. I've had multiple coaches tell me, yeah, you know what? We watched his game against, say, Arkansas, and we took him because of that game and because of that game exclusively. These G5 guys know that. So they are now giving unbelievable effort, because if they ball out in a game against top tier competition, they might be in line for a big payday next year when they get recruited off their roster. So just saying, take some of these performances with a slight grain of salt. It's a little different dynamic now than it has been in the past.